What up though, y'all? It's Chris. Appreciate you connecting with me this morning. The topic that I'm gonna talk about is one that I believe is an important one. It's one that I really have a lot to say on it. And I'm gonna try to really compile my thoughts and not ramble too much in this one because I really want to get everything I need to say out. So it's about kids leaving the nest versus kids being kicked out of the nest, and how one is good and one is harmful. Black folks, we have this problem, especially amongst our community, of kicking kids out too soon. We kicking kids out long before they ready to go. Kicking kids out at 18, we are the only group that think we are doing them some sort of favor by kicking them out into the street with no real world experience, no know-how at all. We the only one that think we doing something by kicking our kids out totally unprepared for the world. That's ridiculous. I look around and I see the Indians, I see the Asians, I see the Hispanics. They do not operate like this. And I don't operate like this either. I think it's terrible. I take myself for an example. You know, I was able to live at home. I left in my early 20s. My mother and my stepfather gave me time to get myself together. You know, I was able to work. I grinded to get myself my first car. It was a Buick Riviera. Absolutely loved that thing. I was able to kind of save, find myself an apartment, and I moved out on my own. I moved out with the intention of never ever going back. But I'm gonna tell you, if I ever needed to go back, I could have. I could go back now if I need. I just never needed to go back. But please believe, if I reach out to them right now and say, I'm in a bad spot, I need to come back and grind so that I can get back on my feet, no problem. I'll be able to do so. It'll be no issue at all. That wouldn't be what I would want to do, but the option is available for me to do so. You kicking your kids out at 18, just graduated from high school. They have no real know-how or nothing. In many cases, they don't even know how to cook because they've been surviving for the last several years off of microwave frozen foods and cold cereal. Because, you know, we love us some cold cereal, black folks. And if you don't know, you know now. It makes no sense. Take, for instance, you got a son. He's 16 years old. He's sitting there playing Call of Duty on Xbox Live with his buddies. Are you really looking at him thinking, I'm going to kick him out in 2 years? He is not ready. He's still a kid. He's still going to have mostly a child's mentality even when he turns 18. It's like, I'm grown, but, you know, that last day of being 17 versus that first day of being 18, their mentality hasn't changed at all. They are still the same kid you knew them the day before that was on Xbox Live. You know, I have a son. He's 21. I'm not kicking him out. He's not ready. And I wasn't kicked out, so I'm not going to do that to him. He works. He's very productive. He's listening to the instructions I'm giving him of being set up so that when he is ready to go out there, he'll be fine. Now, I'm not saying stay with me forever. Of course not. You want them to go out there in the world and give you grandchildren one day and all that sort of thing. And he will do that. But I'm not going to kick him out before he's ready to get out there, because that leads to the worst possible results. You know, you kick your kids out, and I've seen this happen in many cases where girls, daughters, they're being kicked out at 16 years old, sometimes at 14 years old. That is absolutely awful. 14, 15, 16, they are a child still. And what do you think is going to happen? They're out there in the world. You put them instantly in survival mode. And if she's in survival mode, she's going to make really poor decisions that she otherwise wouldn't make. Okay, she's going to fall in line with some knucklehead guy that is showing her attention and affection, talking about some, I love you, I care about you. And she's going to fall for that because you kicked her out. You, her parent or parents, kicked her out. So she's going to be more susceptible for whatever BS he's on. And if he's abusive and stuff like that toward her, she really has nowhere to go. She is stuck because she's in survival mode, and you've slammed the door on her. So she's gonna, more likely than not, end up in a really bad situation. If you want that for your daughter, keep moving like this. She's going to be more likely to end up a teen mom, ultimately a single parent. You know, this is just crazy. I saw some video, right? I saw some video, and it was a black woman, and she was talking about her two daughters. I think they were like 22 and 24 years old. Now, this woman was telling the story of how her daughters, who by her own admission were good girls, they didn't create problems, they work, they were productive members of society. She told them that they had to leave. And her reasoning that she gave for why they had to leave was because it was time for them to, you know, basically fly free and, you know, be on their own. And my daughters, they ended up all finding a place to stay before the time limit that I gave them. And I was so proud of them. This was just total BS. All right. Of course they found a place to stay before the time limit. I mean, were they supposed to just wait, you know, till it was a few days before and leave me? No, of course they found it way ahead of time because they saw mom was on some BS with trying to get rid of them. But I don't buy the story of it was just time for them to leave and spread their wings. If I could be real with you, if I could be really real with you, and we keeping it 100 here, I'd be willing to bet that the whole reason she kicked them out is because whatever male company she's been entertaining, she's caught them looking at her daughters. All right, like for real. Her daughters are young, if they're fairly attractive, and she's had this guy over, that guy over. I guarantee you she's caught them looking at her daughter, and she felt some kind of jealous about it. So now they gotta go because her daughters are her competition. It sounds ridiculous, but we know, we've seen that. We've seen plenty of situations where the mom is competing with her daughters or daughter. It's the most insane thing, but that's what leads to situations where you're kicking your daughter out at these early stages in life with no real life training. We don't teach our kids about finance. You know, we really don't. I mean, think about it. We don't teach our kids about saving. We don't teach our kids about investing. We don't teach our kids about using money as a tool to better yourself at all. We do not do that. They have no information really, and it's our job to prepare them for life. It's our job as parents to prepare them for life. And you're not preparing them for life and then kicking them out and expecting them to turn some sort of positive result. Just because you were kicked out at 18, and that was a terrible thing to happen, but just because you were kicked out at that doesn't mean that you have to repeat the cycle. You got to do better. You really do. You have to do better. I don't know why it would make sense to anyone to do that to your children that you claim you love. If you claim you love them, you should want the best possible outcome for them. And you know that throwing them to these streets, it's not going to do anything but create a traumatic experience for them. And they're going to have resentment for you, and they're likely going to repeat the process when they have kids. We have to do better about preparing our kids. And I say this because I truly care. I've seen this with my own eyes, and it's not good. It really does sadden me to see such a thing, because why are we doing that? No one else is doing that. No one else is doing that. If you know any other ethnic group, think about it. If you know an Asian family, if you know a Hispanic family, if you know an Indian family, if you know an Arab family, they're not doing that sort of stupid stuff. They combine resources so that everybody can thrive. We the only ones behind on this. We the only ones that think that our way is somehow better than the way that all these other groups is doing, but we're producing the worst possible results. If you got a son, he out here in the streets, if he was kicked out at 18 or earlier, he out here doing stupid stuff too, for the sake of survival. He's out here possibly committing crimes. He's out here possibly in a gang, because the same reason. You put them in survival mode. You put your kids in survival mode, they are going to make the worst possible choices every single time, because you put them in a state of desperation. They have nowhere to go. They're hungry. they gonna do whatever they gotta do to survive. And oftentimes doing what you gotta do to survive is not going to equal good decisions. So I think I've tapped on this enough. I think you guys get the point. It's a terrible thing that we as black folks need to do better on. And I think it starts at home. I'm already starting at home. Like, I have no intention of kicking my son out. He's 21. I have no intention of kicking him out, expecting him to know everything at 21 that I didn't know. That's crazy thinking. So I appreciate y'all connecting with me as usual. If you like this video, found value in it, give your boy a like, subscribe if you haven't already. Talk to y'all soon. And don't forget, leave me some comments, as always. Peace.